has been a hot minute. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it's been a while. How are you, my love? How are you feeling? How are you doing? How are you faring? 23 seconds as I ask how you are faring. Ah, man, let me tell you, it has been a whole time since the last time I did an update video, and I was moved to do it, and so I am doing it. Here is our beautiful crystal mobile that I love so much. And y'all already know what I'm gonna ask you. Have you had some water today? If not, go grab some water and let's have some now. If you have, I'm really proud of you. Oh my god. Water's so good, bro. So, for those of you who are not new here, and it's been a minute. Hi, I've missed you. For those of you who've been here, or for those of you, for those of you who haven't been here, welcome. My name is Yasha. I also go by Tato the Penguin on other various social media platforms, and I used to do these types of videos every night. I used to do them every night. I'd be very vulnerable in them, talking about my personal experience and things I was going through, and it was a whole vibe for a while, and then I was moved by spirit to stop doing those videos and to focus my attention elsewhere. So my attention was on Twitch. Y'all, I'm really enjoying the afro. I was tired of wetting my hair every morning. For those of you that don't know or that don't have like naturally curly hair, hair like mine, I don't know what type it is, but hair like mine, you have to, if you're gonna like try to shape it or form it in any way, it has to be wet. And then for me, I put like 2 different types of conditioner in it so that the curls and everything hold. But doing that every day means that I run out of conditioner very quickly, and because of the situation I find myself in, paying for more hair product is just not the motherfucking move. So a happy alternative is to have a little afro. So that's kind of what I'm working with right now, and I dig it. I dig the little afro. Yes, so updates. I don't remember what was happening the last time I did an update video, so I guess I can just kind of shoot the shit about what's been going down. Yo, streaming is different than I thought it was as far as like what to do, you know, when I'm streaming live, like on Twitch. For those of you who just really focus on my spiritual stuff, I won't spend too long talking about the video games that I be playing and stuff. I try to save that for when I'm actually gaming. But essentially, I play video games 2 days a week, live, where people can come into the chat and they can talk to me and we can hang out and we can have a good time. And I realized in my last stream that I did that I was trying to be similar to other video game streamers that I like. People who are very high energy or people who are very jokesters the whole time, you know, and I was trying to make myself that, only to discover that I actually have a really low, I have a very chill vibe, typically. Especially when I'm playing video games. Like, I definitely get a little up in arms if I feel like the game is cheating or if I feel like I'm being taken up through there, you know, by a particular boss in a level. But for the most part, I'm a relatively chill streamer. And so, 4 minutes and 14 seconds as I say that, so maybe you are a relatively chill person. And I started to feel bad when I was streaming video games because I was like, hey, yo, like, whenever I get on here, I just don't feel like I'm entertaining enough. Like, I don't feel like I'm, like, all of my jokes that I usually have, like, when I'm not streaming, when I'm just talking to friends or family or whatever, like, usually it's totally fine. Like, usually the jokes are hitting, everybody's laughing, we're all having a good time. But then as soon as I turn the camera on, like, I just feel really chill, and I'm not really in that super high energy jokey space. I'm more in like a conversational space. So instead of recognizing that maybe that was the energy I should lead with, I was trying to be somebody that I was not. And I have a feeling that you have occasionally had this happen where you have felt like you needed to be somebody else in order to achieve what you were wanting, because the only people you see having the things that you want are people, 5 minutes and 23 seconds as I'm saying this, but the only people that you see having the things that you want are people who are different from you. They're not like you. They don't share the same energy. They don't share a lot of the same interests. Maybe they're not even in the same age bracket. Or maybe for some of you, they don't share a gender or an ethnicity, and maybe you've just been like, yo, when am I going to see somebody doing the thing that I want to do? And I'm here to tell you that you are that person. And I know how cheesy and corny that sounds, because that's exactly what I thought. I was like, well, I know there are people out there who are low energy, or not low energy, but who are like chill vibes, who stream, and they probably have followings and they're paying for stuff and everything, but I just have not seen them. I haven't gone looking for them. And Spirit kind of let me in on some information that I wanted to share with you guys, and that is the whole point of being your most authentic self is for your people to find you, is for your community to find you. If you are not being yourself, your community cannot find you. They'll click on your videos, or they'll look at your artwork, or they'll listen to your music, and they'll go, I'm still looking for, that thing that makes me feel a spark, or that helps me feel understood, or that kind of supports where I'm at in my life. And so many of you, you're probably walking around with some gems. Whatever those gems are, you're probably walking around with some. It could be anything. It could be anything. It could be music. I always think the arts, but it could be sitting down and talking to somebody. It could be you being a peer support specialist and you don't even realize that that's what you do for people, that you are their peace, that you come and you support them, that you listen to others. Or maybe you have a really great mind for planning and for strategy and for projects and things like that. And 7 minutes and 23 seconds as I say that, like, you may have a mind for like as soon as somebody's like, I have a clipboard, you're like, sign me the fuck up, bro, hand over that clipboard. Like, that might be the vibe that you're on. I don't know. But being you and really working to take off the coat, the jacket, of other people's expectations and how you feel like you're supposed to show up in the world is really important for your journey. It's been so important for mine. Like, the streams that I have enjoyed the most when I've been gaming have been the ones where I am unapologetically myself. Like, I'm saying what comes to mind, I'm laughing loud, or, I'm eating on stream, and I'm just myself. That's when I enjoy myself the most. And I have kind of been having this kind of tug of war where I've been trying to figure out like how to be myself, but then also how to create a brand, and that's been tough. It's tough to create a brand around authenticity. This is something I never thought that I would struggle with, because I was like, well, you just be yourself. But when it comes to branding, so much of what it takes to start branding is figuring out what your niche is, right? So that you can tell people, oh, well, I do this kind of content, I do DIY content, or I do construction content, or I mow lawns, or I plant gardens, and I do the cottage, the cozy cottage stuff on TikTok. Like, it's easy when you know what your niche is already, but like for me, I have no idea what that is. I don't know. And I've been trying to figure this out for years. I've been trying to figure out what my niche is for years. I need you all to understand this. It's just been me doing a bunch of shit and feeling like, yeah, like this is me. Like, this is something that I like to do, but I don't feel like any of it really fits. Like, it fits together. So it's hard for me to describe what it is that I do and who I am to people, if that makes sense. And you may be struggling with this as well. Just kind of the confusion of, how do I operate in a capitalist society while trying to create something that is authentic and that is real, but do so in a way that, like, you can keep up with, maybe. I don't know. I don't really know, like, what I'm saying or what I'm getting at. But that's something that I have been struggling with a tad. Something else that I've been struggling with greatly, vulnerability moment, is just how I'm showing up in the world as an adult, as a 32-year-old. And some of you might be like, what? Like, being an adult is it's just that, you just do that. But it's becoming the most authentic version of yourself is very hard when you have people in your life who you interact with who still see you as a version of yourself you no longer are. And I have people in my life who I care about who do not recognize me as the adult that I'm showing up as now. And so as a result, there's not like a lot to talk about with people. When they say that it is going to be the authenticity journey and the spiritual journey are lonely, they meant that shit, bro. I do not have a lot of friends. I don't have a lot of social people, like people that I socialize with. I mean, 11 minutes and 11 seconds as I say that. I just don't have... It's interesting because it's like the whole reason I started streaming was because A, I was inspired to, and B, because I wanted to find my community. And I'm slowly but surely finding my community. I'm making friends, I'm reaching out, like I'm following people and they're following me back, and like the community is slowly building. But like the amount of super close people that I have, it's a very small number. It's like 2 people. It's like 2 people. And I count myself lucky to have even 2. But if you are looking to be your most authentic self, and that means completely tearing down who you've been showing up as to family members, to friends, to neighbors, to coworkers, a lot of those people may not get with you on that. And it might be hard. 12 minutes and 12 seconds as I say that, it might be a hard process. Because you're going to realize, like, I don't mean for this to sound depressing, but here's the truth. The truth is that the reason I think it's such a, like, the self-realization journey is such a lonely one is because the voices and the intuition that you need to be listening to the most are your own. And you have to get to a point where you trust that over the people outside of you who do not know your deepest, darkest, like, secrets or your deepest, darkest self, or the deepest part of you, you know, that yearns and desires for things that are far beyond what the people who you typically socialize with. Like, you have to be at a point where you are enough. Now, I'm not talking about the whole, you know, if you can't love yourself, how are you going to love somebody else? This is separate from that. This is separate from that. This is when you decide that your peace and being fulfilled is important, and you come to realize that being fulfilled and being at peace is something that can emanate from the inside. And once you are that way, you can then overflow and help other people. That journey is a lonely one. Even if you're in spiritual classes, even if you have other spiritual people. Like, I have 2 beautiful, amazing, very highly intuitive, highly spiritual women in my life right now. And I talk about them nonstop. But even with them, excuse me, there is this feeling of being alone. And being alone is not the same as being lonely. So, like, I'm not lonely, but I do find that I tend to be, like, within myself. And there are, you know, on the journey that you're on, you might have a lot of people like, you know, I'm with you and I know you. And it's crazy how people love that. People love that currency of being able to say that they know you and that they understand you. You have to get to a point where you're okay with the fact that they don't know you. They don't. Sometimes it's easy for us to say, oh, well, you know, I'm in a relationship and this is my best friend and this person knows me. And then over time, this person doesn't know you. And it's because you're constantly working on yourself and you're changing and you've got kind of this internal thing happening. you are going down a road that a lot of people are not going with you on. And it's really people that are in your space, because globally, there are actually a lot of people who are on this journey. There's a lot of us, but we're not all in close proximity. And I have a feeling that that's for a reason. Like, if all of us who are like on our spiritual shit were together, bro, we would overthrow governments. Like, we would literally become the biggest superpower on the planet, because nothing is more powerful than an individual that knows their worth. They understand their power. They can step into their power. They do not let the voices outside of them and kind of the reality of the world outside of them shake them from their foundation of peace. You can't do anything with a person like that. A person like that is very dangerous. We love people like that, though. I strive to be like that. But yeah, it's a road that oftentimes we feel bad about. Like, we feel 60 minutes and 16 seconds as I'm saying this, we feel bad about being alone, and we feel like we should feel bad about being alone. But the truth of the matter is who said that? Right? Like, who said being alone was bad? And the reason I ask that is because I was kind of experiencing this whole, like, man, like, I don't have anyone who just knows me to my core, the depths of my soul. I just want to be understood. And I was speaking to Spirit about it, and Spirit was like, why do you need another person to know you like that? And I thought about it, and I realized a lot of that has to do with how I was conditioned growing up. I was conditioned to desire and to yearn to be understood. And I had to be honest about that, because when we first think about our toxic habits, or we think about the things that we do, a lot of us do not like feeling as though 17 minutes and 17 seconds as I'm saying this, a lot of us do not like feeling like we are not unique. A lot of us do not like the idea that we are doing what other people do. I don't think I've met a single person who's like, oh yeah, I love doing what everybody else does and not being unique. I don't think there's a single person I've met who would say that out loud. Most everybody wants to be mysterious, or they want to be special. They want to be told that they're special. They want to be told that, they're unique, or you want to be told that you belong. You want to be told that you're normal. You want to be told that it's not weird, the stuff that you do. But fortunately for you, that is something that you can train yourself out of in the same way that you were trained into it. Like, I just think about all of the media that I took in when I was growing up that had to do with being special and being unique. Like really go back and look at like the 2000s, like the late 90s and the 2000s films, and how many main characters in movies, them being special was the big deal. Them being unique. Them, not being like everybody else. Or, like, and either they wanted to be special, or they didn't want to be special and they were an outcast. Like, the idea of being special is something that I've heard a lot of people kind of like talk about and ruminate over and think about. And I had to come to the realization that being special and being unique is not what is important in this life for me. It's feeling at peace. It's feeling fulfilled. It's doing those things that make me excited and make me happy. But the wanting to be special, the wanting to be unique, the wanting to belong, all of that, was conditioned into me as I grew up. Like, I was okay not having friends until I saw other people having friends. Like, I didn't know to be sad about it until I saw that other people had something that I didn't have. Then it became a problem. I didn't mind playing by myself. I didn't mind, I used to close my eyes, and I don't know, it might have been like a thing, but I used to love closing my eyes and just spinning in a circle. And I would just spin. I would close my eyes and I would spin around and I would sing with my eyes closed. I stubbed my toe a lot doing this. I ran into walls doing this. I actually ran into the metal frame of my bunk bed. and I was hitting a high note, and when I hit the bed, my tooth, it hit my mouth and it cracked one of my front teeth, like diagonally, like in half. And I had to go to the orthodontist, and they had to put a cap on my tooth. And so it's, it's it's a whole situation. But that didn't stop me. Like, even now, I'll close my eyes and I'll spin around. I'm fucking 30, and I'll close my eyes and I'll spin around and I'll be singing. But I only do that if nobody else is around. If people are around, I don't do that, because I'm like, clearly, I don't want to hear anybody's mouth about it. But, what was I even talking about? I don't even know what I was talking about. Guys, it's been very spiritually busy out here. We have a full moon coming up. We have an eclipse coming up. There was a big shift, like a reality shift that happened between May 4th and 5th. And then there was a portal open today, the 555 portal. Like, it was just so much shit happening. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm tired. I'm so tired. I've been tired for the past couple of days, and I was not feeling well either, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. But anytime spiritual planetary alignment stuff starts popping off, I know I'm going to be tired or irritated or antsy. But really look at why you feel the way you feel. And is it possible that those feelings come from the way that you were conditioned? And again, I know people hate this. People do not like looking at the fact that they are influenced heavily by the media and the people around them. Like, when I ask people what their preferences in people are, and they'll tell me, I can be like, okay, so what did you watch growing up? And they don't want to be like, oh, well, yeah, I have a preference for this type of person because I used to watch this show all the time. I developed a crush on this guy because everybody in the show thought that this guy was hot. Or this guy was really unique and he was really 22 minutes and 22 seconds as I'm saying this. This guy was really cute and he was really unique and I developed a crush on him and yeah. Our tastes are not just purely our tastes. When it comes to preferences and people we date, when it comes to our friend groups, when it comes to the games that we play, so much of who we are is influenced by the people and energies that are around us as we grow. And when it comes to showing up the way you want to show up in the world, like whatever adult you want to show up as, I think it's really important. Ooh! The bones is cracking. Crack-a-leckin'. I think it's really important to look at that 23 minutes as I'm talking about this topic. So yeah, it's been tough really looking at who I am and who I want to show up as 23 minutes and 23 seconds as I'm saying this, and how I want to show up. And there have been people that do not vibe. They do not vibe with how I have decided to show up. And in some cases, I have had to adjust and I've had to re-strategize how I show up because it hasn't been safe for me to 100% be my most authentic self. And this is something else that I think is incredibly important. If you are in an environment where you do not necessarily have the freedom to do everything, maybe you're financially dependent or you're emotionally dependent on people, and I know hyper independent people, watching this would be like, well, just do it. We're not talking about y'all. Y'all got your own videos. But if you find that you are in a situation where it's not easy for you to kind of go off and do your own thing, this is why it's so important that you have a daily discussion with your internal self, with spirit, with your spiritual team, with your inner child, because being your most authentic self is important, yes, but it's also important that you are safe and that you are protected. So it's been hard for me in some cases to not be my most authentic self. In some cases, I've had to kind of re-don and re-put on a person that I no longer identify with because it makes other people comfortable. Because if I don't put on that person, other people may be hostile towards me. And when I tell you that the realization that sometimes the people closest to you do not understand that they are still like in the clutches of their own childhood trauma, it's very hard. It's an incredibly hard situation to be in. And for me, in a lot of cases, I try to keep my conversation very, just about me. And, maybe one day I'll write a book about my life and my experiences. But, as a Black woman, I grew up in a community that's very, you don't talk outside of the house. It's very your experience. You could talk about your experience, but don't talk about anybody else, even though the other people heavily are influencing the experience. So that's part of the reason I haven't really done update videos, because it's been tough. It's been tough to figure out how to do the whole authenticity thing, but also remain emotionally safe. And so I feel for those of you that are in situations where you're really trying to change and you're trying to grow and you're trying to do different stuff, but maybe you have a spouse who's just not about it. They're not about it. They're not on the growth. They're doing their own thing. They're manipulative. They're gaslighty. They're narcissistic. And you're just trying to hang in there. And again, this is when it's important for you to bolster. Something that Spirit told me that I am moved to share. And this video is all over the place. I'm sorry. But something that I was told to share is something that you all should do. Something that you watching this video right now should do is, before you go to bed at night, you can do this when you're taking a shower, or you could do it when you're in the bed. I like to do it when I'm going to sleep. So I'm like literally, my body's winding down. And it's to clear away in your mind all of the negativity, all of the limiting beliefs, all of the doubts, all of the naysaying, all of the worry, all of everything that is not, it doesn't vibe with you, and release it. 27 minutes and 27 seconds as I'm saying this. Throughout your day, there are people who are not happy in their own space. They're just not. And there's nothing you can do to make them happy in the space that they're in. But you have to spiritually look out after yourself and protect yourself. So before you go to bed at night, I want you to say affirmations that are true for you. So for me, I release any worries, any doubts, any negativity that people may think in my direction or send in my direction, whether they consciously know they're doing it or not. Because that's the other thing. Some people don't mean to do it. They're just unhappy. And they have stray thoughts about your experience and about what you're doing. And they're sending it in your direction and they don't even know. But it's because energy goes out. You can't help it. You can't help it. Like, energy just permeates spaces. That's why typically you can feel a vibe. You can catch a vibe from people. When people are like, I'm just trying to wait for the vibes. The vibes are energy. It's the energy. Does the energy fit? Is it in alignment? Does it flow or does it not? Is it stagnant? Is it volatile? Is it hostile? Is it warm? Is it welcoming? That's, when I'm talking about a vibe, that's what I'm talking about. But before you go to bed, imagine that your whole body is being washed out by cooling space water. I know that sounds crazy. But I imagine that all of the different energy points of my body open up, and I imagine just beautiful blue energy coming down and just washing away, washing through all of the energy centers. And I release anything that other people put on me. Anything. Whether that be comments of worry, well, are you sure you want to do that? Whether it be comments of, oh, that's great, I didn't expect you to be able to do that. Backhanded compliments. All of that slick shit. I release it before bed. Then when I wake up in the morning, for at least 10 minutes, I am focusing my mind on what my intentions are for that day, as far as the affirmations that I need to remember. And then also in the morning, I have started to imagine my energetic being completely covered. 30 minutes and 3 seconds as I say this, 3003. I imagine my whole energetic being covered by a positive energy field. And my vibe is anything that does not flow for me, send it. Send it back to sender. Return to sender. It's the return to sender vibes. 30 minutes and 23 seconds as I say this. It's crazy how you can literally be minding your business and doing your own thing, and people will place intent on you. And some of them, again, they don't even know they're doing it. Because a lot of people, like, if you watch, like, I was watching TikTok videos and I was getting a lot of spiritual stuff where people were like, you have to be careful. Somebody in your life is sending all these negative vibes, blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, like, everybody in my life is super supportive of what I'm doing. I don't have any problems. And then I had certain conversations where I found out people were unhappy. And in some way, based off of comments and things they would say to me, I'd be like, oh, you are unhappy with what's happening in my life. There is something about me, there's something about what I'm doing, there's something about my energy that is bothering you. And you didn't even realize that you told me that. Crazy. So I've started bolstering. First thing in the morning, and then at night, cleansing all of that energy away, because look here, people. I'm telling you, a while ago, there was a lot of talk about people who were like not doing the shadow work that they needed to do, and they were not focusing on the spiritual stuff that they needed to focus on, that they were going to get very antsy because there was going to be a very sharp divide between the people who are working on themselves and who really want better for themselves and ultimately the world, and people who really don't care. They're just kind of out here living. They're just kind of doing whatever. They don't really care, you know, it's like, oh, whatever. But the problem with not really caring and it being, oh, whatever, is that your bad days are more frequent because there's a lot of negativity out here to be seen and to be experienced. So I remember seeing all of that and being like, damn, that's crazy. And that was at the beginning of the year. That was in January. And now we are in May. And people are still struggling. Like the people who have not really been focusing on their work, they've been allowing what's happening in the world to stress them. Bro. It's a lot. So, I will tell you, it is important that you frequently have check-ins with yourself to see how you're feeling. It is important for you to watch things that make you feel motivated and inspired and feel good. And I'm not talking like hustle culture. Like, you need to get out there and you need to be working. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about watching and listening to things that spark your inner child's joy and that bring you peace. For me, I love watching really funny videos of certain people. You know, I'm not really big into stand-up comedy, but there are people on TikTok who they make funny content, and I will save their videos to a folder, and I have a save folder, and in that folder are things that make me feel good. And I have found that I've needed to dip into that folder a lot recently. Like a lot. And I think it's really important for you to have stuff for yourself to get through those times. It's just crazy. Existing is crazy. No. But yeah, it's been a whole thing. I'm thoroughly enjoying where I am right now. And I think I can enjoy it because I've grown so much since October of last year. So when I was doing these videos every night, I had a lot of hang-ups. And I don't have those exact same hang-ups anymore. I'm far freer. I have more direction in my life than I think I've ever had before, as far as knowing, okay, so this is what we're focusing on, this is where we're going. And if I wasn't paying attention, I would not really know that things were moving. I would think they weren't moving. I would think that I was stagnating and that nothing was happening if I wasn't constantly reminded by my team, like my spiritual team, and then of course my sister, whom I love, who is, on her own spiritual journey, doing her thing. And she's like, you were not this way a year ago. So like, even you, think about how you were a year ago. You know, there are a lot of changes that happen over time. Like, I remember dreaming about being a streamer, and now I'm a streamer. That is what I do. I'm not necessarily getting paid money for it right now, but I'm a streamer. Like, it's crazy to literally go from not knowing how to do that, wanting to do it, never having done it before, to now I do it twice a week. It's crazy. And what else has changed? I was super afraid of the idea of living alone. Like, I was afraid of the idea of living a life where I had my own hobbies and I had my things to do and I wanted to go do those things. I had a fear of that for a long time. I don't have that fear anymore. Like, I'm very happy to be moving towards living a life that I'm excited about and that I'm happy about. And that's so new. It's so new. I used to be incredibly dependent upon my family. Like, I couldn't make decisions without checking in with my parents. Like, a year ago, I was very dependent on everybody else's opinions because I didn't trust myself. I did not trust myself to make decisions, and it's because of how I was conditioned. That there always needed to be somebody else to tell me. There needed to be someone who was a more adultier adult than me, who could tell me that things were good or that this was a safe option. And like, I just never trusted myself. And now I make decisions and I'm good with the decisions that I make. Yeah, sometimes I feel lost and I don't know what the fuck is going on. But at the same time, even with that being said, I am far more trusting of my own abilities than I was before. It's crazy. The amount of synchronicities and signs that I've been seeing, as you know, when it comes to the things that I want to do, have been wild. And I'm kind of keeping things like on the down low as far as like specific stuff that I'm doing and that I want to do, because there are, and this is something that I would tell you, when you're doing things that you're really excited about and that you're really motivated to do, I would say move in silence. Real gangsters move in silence. And it's not because you're trying to be secretive, and it's not because you're trying to harm anybody, hopefully. But really what it is it's allowing your thoughts, you know, your babies, your thought babies, your ideas, you're giving them an opportunity to kind of germinate and to grow without other people's worries and concerns being placed on it. So like, I've had ideas before and I've been like, oh, I really want to do this. And I've gone to a person that I'm dependent on and I've been like, yeah, I was thinking about this and I'm really excited, and they'll literally shoot it down on some, well, yeah, I don't know if you want to do that. Like, I don't know if that's for you. Like I don't know if that's kind of your personality. And I would be like, yeah, I guess you're right. What? That's crazy. But so many of us were raised to be very dependent upon other people's opinions. And so that's why kind of the whole, you know, you shouldn't care what people think. Yeah, we shouldn't, but a lot of us do. It's so easy to say you shouldn't care what people think. It's not so easy to just not care when you've literally spent your entire life trying to please the people around you, and when you've literally built up different versions of yourself for the people around you. To just not care, you know, to overnight not care doesn't just happen. I haven't seen it happen. I mean, maybe it's happened. Maybe somebody's figured it out. Maybe somebody woke up, you know, on some Terminator shit and they were able to just like they were good. But I have not seen that. I haven't done it. Like, I'm still working on not caring. I feel like it's like little bit by little bit, you know? So like, at first I cared a lot about the comments on my videos. I cared a lot about what people said to me, like in chats and stuff like that. And I got one negative comment on a video years ago and it took me out. I was like, I'm trash, I'm garbage, I should never do this again. Like, I was really, I was out of it. But now when I see comments that I make on TikTok, because here's the thing, sometimes, and maybe you know what I'm talking about, but sometimes you're not even posting content. Sometimes you're just commenting on somebody else's content, and somebody will comment on your comment and say some fuck shit to you. It's crazy that people have this kind of time. But I've had this, where I've got notifications where I left like a really nice compliment for somebody, and somebody responded to me and was like, you look like this, or you sound like this, or your content's not good. And it used to take me out, and now I just look at it and I'm like, that's crazy. That's crazy that my comment, me, a random person on the internet, was able to take you up through there like that. Take you up through there. Like, you felt the need to comment on my comment some fuck shit when I was just trying to spread positivity. That's wild. But not unexpected, because, you know, people just be out here being insecure. What are you gonna do? You know? But yeah, so those are things that I've been going through, and things are moving. I can feel it. Like, and not like in the ether out there. Like, I have been wanting certain things to happen for so long, and they are actually happening. It's not just signs, it's not just words in the wind, but at the same time, if I were to tell anybody the things that are happening, there's a large chance that I wouldn't take those opportunities. Another reason I think you guys should keep things close to your chest, because sometimes your confidence is based on you are going to do this for you, but the minute other people perceive your plans or perceive what you're trying to do, they emotionally and spiritually, 41 minutes and 41 seconds as I'm saying this, they bully you. And again, the most dangerous people aren't the people who flat out tell you your ideas are shit and you're never going to be nothing. Some of the most dangerous people are the people who are like, I love you so much and I just want what's best for you. Those people are dangerous. It's very insidious, because you're thinking, I can trust this person. Bro, I'm so excited for the day that I am living in a space. It's a tad different from what I'm experiencing now, because, bro, I was doing a stream, 42 minutes and 23 seconds as I'm about to tell this story, and I wasn't going to say anything, but I was doing a stream like maybe a week or so ago, and I had a situation where somebody in my household was really pissed about something and came in and interrupted my stream because they were upset. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. So, and during that moment, I was like, it's wild that I don't really have any privacy. I don't really have the autonomy that I would like to have to be able to do the things that I want to do. And at first I was really upset about it. And then I thought about it and I was like, you know, this really gives context for when I'm not here anymore. For when I'm in a space where I do have privacy. When I'm in a space where the time that I am using and that I'm on is mine. I don't have to worry about what everybody else needs. I don't have to worry about, you know, other people being, you know, upset, or, you know, maybe they had a bad day and now they want to make it my problem. I won't have to deal with that forever. And you won't have to deal with that forever. There is change. There is movement happening. I can feel it. And if you are going through it right now, and if you are struggling, and if things are not going the way that you want them to go, bro, I feel you. I feel you. But we do got this. We do have this. I feel like a little hair right here. It's like peach fuzz. But yeah, so much of what I'm saying I really didn't intend to say. I was just gonna do like a little update, but I guess as I started talking I realized I can't really do like a detailed update, because so much of it is like, so much of it is family focused, and I care about the people in my life enough to not be a dick, you know? And everybody's going through their own shit. Like, I'm a person who always tries to understand where people are coming from. 44 minutes and 44 seconds as I say this. I always try to give people the benefit of the doubt. Always. I know people get on here as far as YouTube and the internet and they blow up people's shit. Like, they go on and on and on about how they, were damaged or how people did things to them. And that is their right. And I think if you do that, good on you for exposing toxicity. But again, I think it's really important for where you might be to create an internal sanctuary, a place within yourself that is safe, that you can go to. I think that's really important for you to have. And you're there, and you're doing what you can do until you're no longer in that environment, and you can move freely the way that you would like to move. So, I think that's kind of, what else? Ooh, something that was really interesting that I was really excited about. 45 minutes and 45 seconds as I'm about to talk about this. Something that I've realized is that recently I've been stepping in front of who I used to be. Excuse me. So I've had a couple of situations where I was thinking with limited beliefs. And I was able to catch myself. And I was able to walk myself back from that and be like, where did this thought come from? I recognized the thought. I nipped that shit in the bud and I was able to move forward. It's crazy. My whole life, finances have been a struggle to think about and to talk about. It never seemed to come easy. There always seemed to be some kind of drama associated with finances when I was growing up and in my life. And I realized I was over here like, I'm attracting resources, I'm attracting money, I'm manifesting, I'm doing all this stuff. And I was like, why is that seems to be the one thing that's just so hard for me to be able to lock into and to get? Like, what the fuck is happening with that? And then I realized I was looking at apartments the other day. And when I went to the website to look at apartments, Spirit brought it to my attention that I immediately started looking at cost first. I started apartment hunting with a budget in mind. Now, practical people, realistic people would say, well, yeah, that's what you have to do, because if you don't have the money, then obviously you can't get the apartment. Yes, we are spiritual here. We are all about the spiritual vibe. And the thing is that if you're going into a situation already limiting your beliefs, then how can you expect for something to come out for you on the other side? So I was over here looking at apartment costs and going, what's the cheapest thing I can find? And I'm seeing cheap apartments in unsafe areas with faulty electrical things, suspect building planning, history of hella crimes. Like, I was looking at all that and I was like, what am I doing? Like, why am I starting this search in such a lack mindset? And that was one of the things that I stepped in front of. And what I did was I went to ChatGPT and I asked ChatGPT, if I had an infinite amount of money, like if I didn't need a budget, how would I apartment hunt? How would I do that if money was not something I was concerned about? And it said, well, when you're not concerned about money, you're not limited. You're not limited by a budget. What you have is the opportunity to look at how it fits your lifestyle. When you are not limited by the budget that you've placed in your mind, you are free to find something that fits your lifestyle. I didn't know this is how most people who have finances apartment hunt, because that's never been how I looked. I've always looked based off of finances and cost first. And I was like, no wonder. Money, I was like, money comes to me easily and frequently. I am money. Resources are always here. No wonder that shit wasn't coming, because the very core belief that I had in my mind is that I've been thinking with a budget in mind. Even when it came to my dreams, y'all, this shit was crazy. When I would be fantasizing about what I wanted in life, I was still fantasizing about how much it costed, and I was still saying, well, I wouldn't want this because this is just too much money, so I would want this thing. Bro, in your fantasy, in your dreams, you're limiting yourself in your dreams? Bro. Girl. It was a whole thing. So I started looking based off of what I would like. So, something that I would like is, I would like an apartment, a living situation that is pet friendly because I want to get a cat. I'm very excited about that idea actually because I love cats. I love cats. I love cats. I would like to get a cat. And it's got to have high-speed internet because I want to stream full time. That's what I would like to do full time. And so I don't know how that's going to happen. I don't know when that's going to happen. I don't know with what resources that's going to happen. But that's what I want to do. And it's crazy because when I stopped thinking about the financial limitations, I started thinking about things I would need for the lifestyle that I wanted to live that I had not thought about before. High-speed internet is incredibly important if you're trying to stream live, playing video games with other people live. You don't need to be dropping frames. You don't need lag and bad ping. You know, all of that shit can be completely got rid of if you have high-speed internet. And what's crazy is, as I was looking at apartments, I was noticing there were really high, like, apartments that were, like, on the upper level of cost, right? Like, exuberant costs. But then they didn't have access to high-speed internet. I was like, that's odd that you literally want me to give you my arm, my leg, and, you know, the contract, you know, the rights to my firstborn child, and yet you don't have high-speed internet. And then when I looked, so many of these places are charging for things I wouldn't need for my lifestyle. So if you are in the process of apartment hunting, or you're wanting to move from the space that you're in, and you don't know how that's going to happen, I would say do not lead with looking at the cost. Lead with the lifestyle that you want to be living, and then find places that fit that lifestyle. From that perspective, from that point, you are now looking at it in a more, I wouldn't even say, it's not that it's realistic, because what I'm saying is kind of not realistic, but it's more real for your soul. Like, it's more real to you versus looking at things in terms of limitation. But why would you place limits on yourself? The world already tries to do that to you. Why would you do that? Why would I do that? I didn't know I was doing it. I was over here like, no, I don't have any limited thinking. I don't have any disbeliefs. I don't have any doubts. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. It took weeks of running into the same lesson over and over again. This is the other thing. If you find that you're trying, like, you're being met with the same issues over and over and over again spiritually, and you're like, why do I keep running into this? My sister said something. She said, I think part of the reason you're running into this stuff over and over again is because these are principal things that you need to understand in order to get to the things that you need. When something is a principle, like it is a core pillar of understanding that you need to live a peaceful and a fulfilled life, that is going to be hard to get. That's not going to be something that you get just overnight, or that you successfully move through and you never go back and have to revisit it and rehash it again. So if you're having to redo stuff 52 minutes and 52 seconds as I'm saying this, if you find that you feel like you're repeating the same lessons, that's good. Because what it means is that thing that you're dealing with, somewhere in there, and you should meditate on it, somewhere in there is a principle understanding that is for your entire life. That's not something that's just like learn this, move forward, you know? It's like a serious situation. And when she said that, I was like, wow, like that's heavy. And she told me, she said, you know what's crazy? You're getting faster. And I was like, getting faster? How? How am I getting faster? How do you see me? I was like, how? If you haven't seen the second Hellboy with Ron Perlman, you should watch it. There's a troll in there. And she's like, you can see me. How do you see me? And I quote that all the time. But anyways, she was like, your realizations about yourself, like the things that you struggle with, you're getting quicker at recognizing that you're struggling with it. It used to be that you'd be like, oh, I feel like shit. And it'd be like a whole week before you figured out why you felt like shit. She was like, but now you're like, I don't feel good. And it's maybe a day or a couple of hours. And even though to me that still feels like, too long, because I've always struggled with having these really high expectations of self, I realized she was right. When you are moving through your life and you're learning things, you are gradually getting better. And sometimes it doesn't feel like you are. Sometimes it feels like it's literally a snail's pace. It feels like you're not moving fast enough. Nothing is coming through. Nothing is changing. You're doing the same shit over and over again. But I guarantee you, if you sit down and you look at where you were years ago, and you look at certain lessons that you came through, even if you're having to repeat those lessons, there are some things that you are seeing only now because you were prepped and primed to see it. So for me, my last relationship that I was in, 54 minutes and 54 seconds as I say this, the last relationship that I was in was required. It was a required experience for me to now know what I bring, what I want to bring, how I want to show up in a relationship, the type of relationship that I want to be in. All of that I would not know if I didn't have the situation that I had. If I hadn't gotten married, if I hadn't had everything happen that happened, I would not be in the situation where I can now confidently date a person and actually talk about real shit and be like, okay, so here's my bullshit. I want you to see this is the situation. And a lot of people might say, well, when you're dating, you don't want to scare them off. Like, you don't want to, immediately pull out the weird. Like, you got to rope them in first. Not me, baby. Not me. If a person sees me and they're like, she's weird, we weren't going to work anyways because you immediately judged. You immediately judged the situation and you weren't interested. That's totally fine. Live your life. Stay blessed. But I am no longer at the point where I am interested in faking the funk. Especially when it comes to dating. If you are out here and you want to date and you're like, I'm trying to get out there into the dating pool, I'm going to tell you, you got to be real. You got to be real with yourself. What do you want? Do you want to just hook up with people? If the answer is yes, that's okay. If that's what you want to do, you just need to be honest about it with yourself and then be honest with the person. There are loads of people out here who want the same thing that you want. You do not have to be out here lying to folks. Like, that is unnecessary behavior. That'd be a pet peeve of mine. People be on here on some, I'm trying to find this relationship. I'm trying to find my Mrs. Right. And no, the fuck they are not. They're out here trying to hit it and quit it. They belong to the streets. They want to stay out there in the streets. Their name is on the street sign. That's where they want to be. And it's like, bro, just stay out there. There are loads of people out there with you who want to be on that same energy. I don't know. That shit makes me laugh. But, I don't know how I got off on all that. But, I stepped in front of that mindset, realizing that I was carrying around still, even after, again, since October, of really trying to focus in on being confident in myself. I realized I was still walking around with a broke mindset. How are you going to attract wealth and resources into your life when you're walking around sporting a broke-ass mindset? How are you going to do that? How are you going to attract billions of dollars when everything that you do, you're like, do I have the money? Because the energy is literally of lack. You cannot be in both of those places at the same time. I can't be in both of those places. I cannot be on some, yes, I have all the resources, all the time in the world. I'm a full-time streamer. And every day wake up and the first thing I think about is, oh God, I'm broke. Like, you can't do that. I mean, you can, but I don't think you'll get the results that you want. This is just me talking to you on some real shit. So that was the first thing. I can't remember what the second thing was. But yeah, I have found that there are actually a lot of things that I'm doing differently. Even though I'm struggling with, like, the principal things, there's a lot of new stuff that I'm dealing with that I have not dealt with before because I was afraid to deal with it. It's been a very different vibe. And I don't know if I've made any sense in this video. I'm gonna be real with you. My brain kind of feels like scattered. It feels all over the place. It feels kind of like when somebody punches a mirror and it's all those different shards. It kind of feels like that, except all the shards are different colors. And they're not, like, in place. Like, they're all, like, they came out of the mirror and all turned in different directions and went back. So it's not even like they fit. That's how my brain feels right now. That's how it feels. So yeah. If I look at my life in sections, as far as my love life goes, there's a lot that I'm learning, and I do not currently have it in me to just be out here dating. I wanted to. I really wanted to be out here. I was like, where is Mr. Right? Let's go. But the more I'm learning about myself on a spiritual level, and the more I'm finding out about my mentality of lack, the more I'm like, I have things that I want to do. And I know I've been seeing on TikTok people like, well, you don't want to stay alone for too long. You want to get out there and you want to date people because the longer you're alone, at some point you'll just get used to being alone. I'm like, what's the problem with that? What if I'm totally okay with enjoying my own space? What's the issue there? Why y'all trying to fearmonger me? I'm not afraid of loneliness. I consider being alone a blessing at times. It allows you the space to just be yourself. And it keeps you from having these ridiculously high expectations of the people around you. Like, it's one thing to expect people to be decent human beings, right? But it's another thing to expect people to love the way you love, or to show up the way you show up, or to consider you in the way that you consider other people, you know? So, yeah, it's crazy. As far as like the job hunting situation is going, that is really interesting because I've been job hunting as long as some people have gained employment and then lost it. So I've actually had some people that I know who've gotten laid off recently who had jobs when I was looking, or when I was looking, they got jobs. The entire time I've been looking, they had jobs, and now they don't have jobs anymore. And that's crazy to me. That's wild. Again, on a real level though, I don't know if this, I feel like something's blocking because I've literally had people help me redo my resume. Like, again, I've always been able to interview well, shaking people's hands, saying the right things in interviews. And I was landing interviews, like, what month are we in? We're in May. I was landing interviews maybe pre-October. Pre-October, I was landing interviews, and then I wasn't getting anything. Like, it was always another candidate that just had a little bit more experience than me. But the job thing's been interesting because I really don't feel like I'm supposed to have a job right now. And I say these things because at some point in the future, something may happen and I might be like, oh my gosh, this was the answer. And then I'll pay somebody to edit a compilation video where I have all of these statements that I say, and then I can come back and be like, guys, and look how it all panned out. That's my hope. That's my hope, is that it all pans out. Because if it doesn't, I don't know what'll happen. I heard somebody say it once. There's no reason to stress over life because either it'll be good or it won't be good. Either way, you'll figure it out. It's kind of how I feel. But yeah, I love you guys. There are some of you who are still keeping in touch with me, and I really appreciate it. I've had some of you come by and you just kind of hang out while I've been on stream, and I really appreciate that. So those of you who followed me for spiritual content, I have a lot of other videos that maybe you haven't seen. So please feel free to go back in this playlist and find some of the older videos because there's a lot of hidden gems in there of interesting stuff. As far as tarot card readings, I was going to do a reading tonight and I totally forgot. So that might be coming at some point. Ooh, an hour, 2 minutes, and 39 seconds. So that was 239. Okay. 10239. So I may do a tarot card reading tomorrow. But I've just been in a situation where I am at the mercy of the kind of the people who run the space that I'm living in. So because I am at their mercy, what I do in my schedule is open, which means I don't really have the ability to just say it's gonna be this way every day, like no matter what happens. Because sometimes I have to run errands, or sometimes I have to do other things. So it kind of is just doing things. Something that I forgot to say is that I don't know how I'm leaving here, but I'm packing. So I cleared out a bunch of shit. I cleared out a bunch of stuff. Things that I wanted to keep, and Spirit was like, get rid of it. So between my sister and I, we have 3 bags of things that I bagged up today that are going to Goodwill. And then my family has a storage unit. And I have some things in that storage unit, and I went through my little list that I created before I packed everything away in my storage unit or their storage unit, so that I know where everything is. And I have decided to get rid of so much stuff. And then right after I was moved to do that, I started seeing videos and I started hearing people talk about moving. But this happened, when did this happen? I really started getting these kinds of signs and synchronicities like maybe a week ago. So yeah, I'm really feeling the whole get yourself ready to leave. And I'm like, okay. I want to leave you with this thought. This is something that my sister asked me because she's a genius. If you are not the same person that you were a year ago, an hour, 4 minutes, and 44 seconds as I'm saying this. If you are no longer the same person that you were a year ago, and things didn't work out for you a year ago, then how can you expect that they're not going to work out now when you are no longer that person? Like, for me, there were a lot of things that I wanted. There have been a lot of things that I've wanted in the past, and looking back on it, I was not ready for the shit I was asking for, like, at all. And so it's a good thing. I'm grateful I didn't get the things that I asked for, because if I had gotten them, I wouldn't have been able to handle it, and then I would have beat myself up about the fact that I would have fucked up those opportunities. And so I'm glad that nothing has happened yet. I am far stronger. I'm far more knowledgeable than I was before. And when I tell you that even though I'm still kind of like, don't know what's happening, I'm far more determined than I was before for things to continue. Like, for me to stay locked in spiritually. I'm far more particular about it. I do feel it in my gut that things are happening. If you feel that change is coming, you need to be moving. And by moving, I mean get ready. Get ready for the change. Get ready for the change. If you're being given signs that the things that you're asking for are coming and you are not preparing for them, don't be surprised if you don't see anything after you've seen all those signs. I've had this happen before, where I've had signs and I've had, spirit's been like, you need to move in this direction, like you need to move now. And I've been like, well, I don't see how it's going to happen, so why am I doing all this moving? Yeah, man, even those of us who are spiritual be questioning spirit. I'm telling you, when people are like, it's a bunch of woo-woo nonsense and you're saying it's magical and you just get whatever you want? No, because being a human being is a whole thing. It's a whole thing. Being a human being and trying to trust the spiritual process can be a challenge. It's not all it works out every time just because I want it to. Sometimes we stand in our own way because we're afraid of growth, we're afraid of moving forward, or we're afraid of succeeding, or we're afraid of failing. So in the past, I've been told, your stuff is coming, you need to get ready. And I haven't. And then nothing's happened. And then I've been like, well, nothing happened. And it's like, well, yeah, bitch, because you weren't getting ready. That seems like a you problem. So, I say all of that to say, what do I say all of that to say? Kind of a wrap up. I love you all. Thank you for being here with me. I really appreciate those of you who've you've been here and you've been talking to me, like you've been a part of things, you've seen mistakes that I've made, you've watched stuff not work for me, you've watched, little wins that have come through. Like, I really appreciate you guys so much for being here. I'm really enjoying the journey, even with all of the things that just irritate me, and there's stuff that I'm like, why is it like this? Like, it bothers me. I'm still enjoying the journey overall. Yeah, so I've started packing. I essentially now live out of a bag that you can put underneath a seat on an airplane. I put all of my clothes, that I wear, and then I have some jackets, but I've packed everything else away. I am living out of that little suitcase. I don't have to, but I am. I've packed everything else up, and essentially, if something happens and I need to move, like get in a car and move across state or move to a different location, I am almost ready. I'm almost ready. Right now, I'm not 100% ready because I have to take this stuff to Goodwill, and then I also need to get my stuff out of storage and clear out a bunch of the shit that's in there. But other than that, I'm literally ready to go. I think the only thing I need is like 2 boxes for my computer setup so that I can make sure that my tower and that my monitor are safe. But literally everything else, I'm ready to go. So I'm waiting to see what happens, because I'm actually moving with expedience this time. But anywho, I love you guys. Stay locked in. Even if you don't feel like a lot of spiritual stuff is happening, even if you're not seeing all the synchronicities, if you're worried and you're like, God, I don't feel as connected as I've been in the past, what is happening? Sometimes it's just a little bit of downtime as things are working. Sometimes it's just a little bit of downtime. Sometimes it's not that you have done anything wrong. It's not that you're no longer spiritual, you're no longer magical. Sometimes you just need a reset. For me, I realized human beings adapt really quickly, so we get used to seeing things frequently. So if you're the person who you've seen 333, 444, 555, 303, 313, 323, like if you've been seeing, you know, those types of numbers and people have been mentioning things you've been thinking about, you've seen confirmations and synchronicities, you probably at some point were like, I'm tired of seeing that stuff, I want more. And so the thing is that when we as human beings adapt to things that other like wise are magical and crazy and shocked us at first, but because it's been happening for so long, we are now used to it. When there are people out there who they don't have this experience and they would give anything to have the experiences that we have. And so for me, when I'm not seeing stuff, I just see that as a little bit of downtime. It's like, well, we just need to remind you that there was a period of time where you weren't getting signs. You weren't getting confirmations. We just need you to see what things look like when you're not, like when those things aren't being given to you, so that you can be grateful and you can remember who the fuck you are and who the fuck we are. So yeah, you're good. You got this. 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 11 seconds on the clock as I say that. You have got this. We have got this. It's a whole journey, and it's all about the journey. It's about the journey. I really am going to look back at these videos. I'm going to look back at this point in my life, and I know I'm going to cry tears of joy. I know I am, because everything that I've been going through since October of last year, it's just been so much emotionally. But so much of it has been good. I'm so excited to see where, like, I'm so excited for the journey to continue. That's really what it is. I don't want to be at the end of the journey anytime soon, but I'm excited to see where things go. Anyways, I love you guys, and I don't know when I'm going to post another video. Again, I'm at the mercy of things happening in the apartment that I live in. So, I'll talk to you guys and do videos as I can. I love you guys so much. Have an amazing morning, afternoon, evening, or night where you're at. Thank you for being here with me. I appreciate the patience for those of you who are still subscribed to me because I was like, I had all these people subscribe and then I felt like shit because I stopped doing the videos every night because it was no longer time to do that anymore. Spirit was like, you're done with that portion. And then I was posting video game content every week. I was doing it for like a month, and then Spirit said, and now you're done with that part. And I was like, what else are we doing? And they're like, you're preparing for your move. You need all of your faculties to get ready for this move, to get out of here and to get into a new space where you're going to be doing something else, and you're going to have a new schedule for your streaming and for your video posting and for your tarot card reading and for your oracle reading. So I was like, okay. So we are in the workshop, me and my spiritual team right now. But thank you guys so much for being here. I love you all so much. We've got this. We really do. But there's no need for us to be worried. Okay. All right. I release you. That's all I have. And I'll holler at you guys later. Bye.